right, hello everyone. On this episode of CBR Saga, we're going to be talking about one of the original Avengers possibly turning evil in the future. That's right, this is an evil episode, but who could turn to the dark side? Sadly, it's not an evil old man Captain America who hobbles around stealing denture paste or whatever, and it's not evil Hawkeye who goes around giving really bad haircuts to children. No, it's a character that's near and dear to all of our hearts. It's the Hulk, or Incredible Hulk, or Professor Hulk, whatever you want to call him. Either way, today's episode is all about how certain events that may or may not include the Illuminati will set Hulk up for bigger and badder things. So this is going to be a ton of fun, so I had to bring in a really fun guy. I brought in my co-host, Nick. Nick, how you doing today?
Doing good, Jacoby. I'm excited, though I am nervous. Hulk's one of my favorites, and I'm scared to see him go bad.
It is a tough predicament that we're in, but I think it could possibly happen. I think Hulk, if used properly, could be set up to be, I think, the next great villain of the MCU, because we've seen outside threats like Thanos, come in and swoop it up. I don't want to see another alien. I want to see something a little bit more personal, and what could be better than that than one of their own? What do you think about Hulk turning evil?
So, I love Hulk. He's had a rocky path, let's just say. I don't know if I love where he is now. I think the next most interesting thing to do with the Hulk would be to turn him evil.
I think that's the best way to go, because let's look at where, I guess, his rocky past so far. Way back when he looked like Ed Norton and then he changed into Mark Ruffalo. He started off as a really guy at war with himself, and then we've spent all these movies seemingly trying to get to a resolution, right, between Bruce Banner and the Hulk. The movie's really established that these two guys are separate personalities. They're separate personas, they're separate entities learning to work in a body together. And right when we were about to get a seemingly resolution to this with Avengers Infinity War, I think ending with Bruce Banner saying, big guy, we got some stuff to work on here, it seemed like we were gearing up for that. But then Avengers Endgame came, and of course, we got the funny reveal of Professor Hulk, but the more you think about that Professor Hulk reveal, the more problematic it is, because I think, one, it negates his entire character arc from everything that we've seen up to that point, and two, where's the Hulk? You're telling me the Hulk just agreed to disappear forever, that he agreed to this proposition of forming these two bodies? He was his own person. It just makes me all hot and bothered. How's it make you feel, Nick?
I will say bothered.
Not hot.
I agree. You bring up a lot of good points. That sort of the whole place Hulk was leading was the clash between how is Bruce gonna control this thing, and it happened off screen. It happened off screen in like a 5-year period, and it's something we'll never get to see. And honestly, if you look at the Incredible Hulk, that's a very serious movie. It's by far no one's favorite movie in the MCU, but I don't think it's a bad movie. But it's very serious. It sets up Bruce as this not comedic character who's really struggling with this inner turmoil, inner battle, and having to control this monster that lives within him. It's a very serious sort of dour movie. And by the time we get to Hulk in Infinity War and in Endgame, because in the first Avengers he's still got some of that heavy past, that heavy weight. But by the time we get to Infinity War, by the time we get to Endgame, he's pretty much just a punchline. And I don't necessarily love where that went. I feel like we missed a lot of the best conflict that we could have seen between Bruce and Hulk. There were so many things to juggle in Infinity War and an Endgame that I could very much see the studio head sitting down and being like, let's just say he solved this one, and we're not going to worry about it because we got a lot of other stuff to focus on.
Yeah, because I can't imagine that. Every point leading up to that point, it was such a great arc between end of Age of Ultron, between Thor Ragnarok, between Avengers Infinity War. It seemed like it was leading to something, right? We're gonna get this, and then nah, we just want to see Fat Thor. That's what we need to devote our time to, not Hulk, and it's a shame.
I think that's what they did. I really think they gave all the best character moments and character development to Thor. They made Thor really change paths. But by doing so, they sort of forgot about the Hulk. However, even with what is set up currently, I don't think it's too late, Jacoby. I think we could still be in store for some things the way things are set up right now.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to get into that. So this is going to be the Hulk's future, and we're gonna spin him into something better than what we've seen before. So how do you start with something like this?
Well, to me, there's two routes you could go. The first route is basically you say whatever he did in that gamma lab didn't work all the way. It worked for a little bit, but now after a couple years, Bruce is able to lose control again for the first time in a while, and he hasn't seen that. And now that he is the Hulk, his body is the Hulk. Maybe him losing control means he has even more power when he's out of control, angry like that. How do you feel about that one?
Okay, I like that. Would you make it a separate event, or would you say something like maybe when Hulk snapped his fingers or something that like unlocks, that kind of wakes the Hulk persona up from his, the side of him, and that allows him to be like break free a little bit more in the future? Do you think the snap could do something with it?
I think it could be that. Something I literally just thought of. We're supposed to get She-Hulk.
Oh.
She-Hulk's origin basically is she's Bruce's cousin or something like that. She's related to Bruce.
Yeah.
And Bruce has to save her life by giving his blood. The way they could sort of retcon it in the MCU when they introduce She-Hulk, I think she's getting her own TV series, is they could say, Bruce, instead of just having to donate blood, Bruce has to like give up some of the gamma training, whatever he did in that gamma lab. He has to give up some of it in order to save Jennifer's life, She-Hulk. And now, because he's done that, she's become She-Hulk, and he is now back to, okay, I need to keep my temper under control.
Ooh, I like that a lot, because then it makes Professor Hulk have an actual decision, and Bruce has an actual decision to make. He has to sacrifice the peace that he's lived with so long to save someone he loves. And I think that is so much better. I think that moment could be seen really well. We saw sort of that moment in Thor Ragnarok, but I think that moment was played with more of a joke. It's when after he's human and then he decides he needs to become the Hulk and save the day, even though he might not change back again. And then he jumps out. It's like, this is who I am. But then it's obviously a super funny part in the movie where he just splats against the ground and dies.
Yeah.
But I think that was one dramatic moment that I don't think should have had a joke in it. And so I think we can retcon that with your suggestion of he's actually making the active choice to live this life again to save someone he loves. I dig it.
So that's the way number one, sort of undoing what he did in that gamma lab, having to go back to the way he was. Then there's number two. And this would be harder to pull off, though I think if it could be done, I think it'd be a lot more interesting. You leave Hulk as he is, but think about Bruce Banner. Since he has become the Hulk, he's basically been not allowed to get angry. I don't know about you, but when I have a lot of anger and I don't like release it, it builds up. That's how it works for most human beings.
Absolutely.
So now Bruce is coming to terms with the fact that he can be angry again and not lose control. So Bruce is a person who doesn't know how to be angry essentially anymore. He's had to avoid it for most of his life, and now he's in this Professor Hulk body. So if someone was to do something to him, we could get the Bruce we know, like the sane-minded Bruce, who is a genius and who is in Professor Hulk's body, just angry as an angry character and not really knowing how to deal with it, and maybe doing some things that he would regret later or going down paths that he wouldn't have gone if he was able to think about it logically. That to me is the more character-driven thing, and I think that's where we're set up to go.
I think that definitely does Hulk more justice than the other one. The other one, as you said, is kind of like the easier way out, but this way allows for actual character stuff, for a character who is great and who should be explored more. All right, so we got angry Professor Hulk. He wears those. So you're saying he wears those like tweed jackets, like super just mad, like he pops a collar, of all that stuff, like that sort of thing. He gets laser eye surgery, so he doesn't wear nerdy glasses anymore because he's so angry.
Yes, and on top of all that, he has a metal arm.
Oh, the metal arm, of course. So he can that just makes him look 10 times cooler. Okay, yes. So we got this angrier Hulk. What could be a big thing that I guess sets him over the edge?
So I've given a lot of thought about this. And one of my favorite lines in the MCU, it's sort of underappreciated, and it's an underappreciated moment because it's in an underappreciated movie. It's in Avengers Age of Ultron. And it's the whole Black Widow Hulk relationship, which I know everyone's not a big fan of. I'm not really either, but there's a line in there that I really like. Natasha says, when she's sort of being all coy with Bruce at the bar during the party, she says, well, everyone in my life's a fighter. And along comes this guy who avoids the fight because he knows he'll win. Basically, we need to do something to get Bruce to stop avoiding the fight. Because and it stinks because Natasha's gone now. They sort of abandoned the Betty Ross thing, but if you could get someone else that's super important to Bruce in his life, and someone makes a decision that inadvertently harms or even kills that person in Bruce's life, I think that would be enough to set him off.
Okay, so someone like Ant-Man, because they share that bond after sharing those tacos.
Yes, exactly. Okay. You read my mind.
Okay, so something big like that sets him off into getting angrier, and just getting madder. Does he lose control?
I don't think so. Honestly, what I think needs to happen is Bruce needs to pull a Luke from The Last Jedi. I call it a Luke from The Last Jedi, but good, because I did not like The Last Jedi. But what they were trying to do with Luke was interesting. Basically, his whole thing is the Jedi Order has been around forever, and it's just time for them to end. You know, they're riddled with, you know, inaccuracy, and they're riddled with hubris and things like that. And I think that this event, instead of making Bruce lose control, could really convince Bruce that it's time for maybe the Avengers to end. Superheroes, you know, doing whatever they want to end. And that becomes Bruce's sole mission. So instead of an out-of-control, angry Bruce, we get a Bruce that, because he's angry, is now super focused on this goal of eliminating what caused the tragedy in his life.
Wow. That's a very nuanced way to say it. I was just saying, like, I want to see Hulk, you know, smash things and get really angry and stuff. But yours is a much better, more delicate way of putting things. That is, I guess, truer to character, which is more important.
Oh, don't get me wrong. He's still going to smash Joe.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I was worried there for a second.
Oh, no, of course.
So is this where you could bring in something like the Illuminati, as I kind of mentioned at the start of this introduction? Could the Illuminati be the factor that Hulk looks at and it's just like, I don't like what those guys are doing or the direction they're taking these things, and I think, because he had just seen episode 8, you know, The Last Jedi, in theaters in an extra wide seat. And he's like, I liked what this Luke was doing. I'm going to do that.
Yes, that's his whole motivation, is he went and saw The Last Jedi and was just moved. No, I think introducing the Illuminati is great. I have this idea to where if you end Phase 5 with sort of another double part Avengers movie, you know how Infinity War and Endgame was sort of this double part, like cliffhanger kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And you make everyone think that the villain of this double part thing is like Galactus or someone so huge like that. You get the first movie, which I would call Avengers Illuminati. And in this, basically the heroes, the leaders of the Avengers, all of these heroes come together and think, okay, we need to form this Illuminati because only we know what's best for the world, and we need to take out this villain. And everyone thinks that the villain is going to last over the 2 movies, but the truth of it is, at the end of the first event, at the end of Avengers Illuminati, Galactus is defeated. But the Illuminati has to do something in order to defeat Galactus that does not sit well with Bruce. They have to sacrifice someone, or they have to basically take more power than Bruce thinks they deserve.
Sure.
So then you get the final thing where everyone thought Galactus was going to be the villain going on, and you actually get Avengers World War, which would be based off the World War Hulk storyline, where the Illuminati had shot Hulk into space. Hulk goes and becomes a gladiator, then he comes back and he just wrecks shop, which is what I want to see. And
you would call it Avengers World War, but not Avengers World War Hulk. You wouldn't put his name in the title there. You don't think he's deserving of the title?
I think it sounds catchier if you say Avengers World War.
You don't think you're gonna see that on the marquee or whatever? You see Avengers World War, and it's like you think, oh, that's okay, but you see Avengers World War Hulk, and you're like, oh, I gotta sit down and see this movie. That's the reaction you're gonna have.
You know, I will concede. I think we should call it Avengers World War Hulk.
I love that 2-part special. I especially love the idea of juking out audiences, so to speak, because we were used to that. Because, like, I didn't believe for 1 second when Avengers Infinity War, the first one, you know, came out, and then, like, because the original plan was Avengers Infinity War and then Avengers Infinity, like, Gauntlet or Avengers Infinity War Part 2. I think that was the title of it, and then they changed it, and, like, to have something unknown, it could be like, it's actually going to be a standalone movie, and people were like, maybe Thanos isn't going to be the villain. Maybe Thanos is going to be beaten. But, like, I feel like we all knew, just like, no, Thanos is definitely carrying over. He's not losing at the end of Infinity War. So I think by playing with those audience expectations and being like, okay, now Galactus is here. Galactus is so big, right? Psych, we actually fooled you guys this time. It's actually Hulk. It's actually somebody you love. He's super mad for your unethical behavior and for calling yourself Illuminati, which is just a, like, you hear that name, it's like, that's an evil name. That's not a good name.
To paraphrase Ant-Man, you sound like bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. And then it sets him up. I love that. That would bring this MCU into a different direction and give us a battle with, I think, better stakes. Because, yeah, Galactus is great, and I want to see Galactus done right. But is he going to have the emotional weight of seeing Hulk have to fight against his friends? No, absolutely not.
Right. And that's a more interesting thing, because Hulk's not mad at, let's say, I don't think Ant-Man would be, I don't think Scott Lang would be a member of the Illuminati.
Let's be honest, he wouldn't be invited.
At Scott Lang.
They would not invite Scott Lang.
Most likely not. But no, I don't think Hulk is mad at Scott Lang. But if Scott Lang says, hey, Doctor Strange said, I got to stop you from getting to them, Hulk's going to say, well, you shouldn't have gotten in my way. And he's going to do some damage.
Oh, that is a Hulk on a mission, and I love it. That's a new side to his character that I want to explore. And I want to see a Hulk versus Ant-Man fight. I want to see a Hulk versus everybody fight. I'm trying to think who would be the best good. Well, I guess since this is happening at the end of Phase 5, which is the real beauty of it, because we can actually build up to this. It's not going to be just like a quick thing. It's going to be the next big arc that can stick the landing, unlike Hulk's previous arc. But maybe at that point, you can bring in those characters like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men who are involved in some way, and then that's going to be able to give us that Hulk versus Wolverine, Hulk versus Mr. Fantastic, open up a whole range of options there.
Yeah. So, Jacoby, Illuminati traditionally, the Marvel Illuminati is composed of 6 people.
Okay.
Who are you pitching? Because obviously we can't have Iron Man. There was a run a little bit where...
Is he okay?
Iron Man? Oh, he's doing fine. He's just taking a nap.
Okay, good. I didn't see the last 10 minutes of Endgame, so it's like I've avoided that. But okay, so okay.
Yeah, no,
he's
he
not
just
there.
went to sleep for a little bit, and he'll be fine. But he's just not going to be in the Illuminati.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay,
no Iron Man.
There are runs where Captain America is a member of the Illuminati. I don't think we could do that either. Same thing happened. He just took a nap.
Yep.
We're just waiting on him to wake up. It's totally fine. So my question to you, Jacoby, is we're going to have to sort of retcon who the members of the Illuminati are. And I'm asking who you think would be a good fit.
I think first and foremost, you got to have Doctor Strange. I think since he's going to be so vital to this multiverse and everything going forward, he's going to have that in-depth knowledge to. I don't know. Like if I'm just pitching a problem, it's like maybe the way to stop whatever villain is in Avengers Illuminati or so is like to stop their world from being destroyed. Doctor Strange and whoever the Illuminati has to make the choice to destroy another alternate universe, has to destroy a universe out there. And if you go along those lines of a great sacrifice, Doctor Strange is totally going to lead that charge. He is all about sacrificing the small for the ultimate goal, for like the big goal here. So
Jacoby, real quick. That's genius, because remember, Bruce was the one who had to go back in time and get the time stone. And he's the one who talked to the Ancient One. And the Ancient One sort of explained to him what messing with other realities can do. And that's why Bruce was so determined to get the stones back to those timelines.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
You just pitched something genius, because Bruce would be the only one at that point who would know what could potentially happen to these other realities if care isn't taken.
Right. Man, awesome. I did it. All right. Vindication. That's great. Okay, so if we continue on, Doctor Strange, to me, it's like one of the only ones who fit there, and I can see why that sort of action would fit for Doctor Strange and would really make Hulk super mad. If we're playing with other people, I don't know.
Black Panther has been a member before. I think you just get really good people who are good at being leaders, who come together and their ego sort of gets a little bit too big for them, because they are the smartest people, they are the best leaders, but they do things without really thinking about them because they trust themselves too much.
I think
so Black Panther, to me, that's a given. I think in the Marvel universe we have now, I think Captain Marvel could be a good addition to the Illuminati.
Yeah.
I think by this point we could have a Reed Richards.
Reed Richards got to be there.
Maybe have a Professor X. I do have one more. I believe that was 5.
Okay.
You pitched Doctor Strange leading the Illuminati. I like that.
Ooh.
However, I think an interesting twist, because I don't think this has been done in the comics, is to have Thor lead the Illuminati. Then, because you have this relationship set up throughout the movies, if Bruce is closest to anyone now that Tony's gone, it's Thor. Yeah. So imagine having to sort of have Bruce come and fight his way through all these people, only to come face to face with the guy who he's fought before, with the guy who can go toe to toe with him in Thor, because Thor made the decision that set Bruce off, that set Bruce on this path.
Wow. That would be, I love that idea and love seeing a Thor versus Hulk rematch. The problem with that, I think, is that just doesn't seem like it fits this new Thor character, but you can easily retcon that of just because, hey, they changed his character once, why not change it again? You know?
That's true. That's a good point.
But overall, those 6 against the Hulk. How does it end? Does Hulk destroy everything? Do they eat shawarma afterwards? Are they fractured beyond repair?
I think this is how you end Bruce Banner. This is how you end the Hulk in the MCU. I think Iron Man and Captain America were the sort of emotional ends of Endgame. I think maybe Bruce, maybe even Thor, are the emotional ends of this next 2 phases.
That would do it. I already have a tear in my eye, Nick. That is so heartbreaking, and I think you've pitched a beautiful saga or a beautiful continuation for the Hulk. I think this could be a great thing for the character who needs more recognition, and it's because we all love Hulk. We want more from Hulk. So thank you for walking us through such an excellent 2 movies, and I'm looking forward to Phase 5. And if they don't do this now, I'm gonna go all Professor Hulk smash and just start hunting down, fighting people. So that's what's gonna happen.
Good to know.
Any last words about the Hulk?
Yeah, man. No, I really liked him too, and I think I don't love where he is now, but I think they could continue on with him. I think there's other things they could do with the Hulk too. Sort of up his importance again, maybe make him less of a joke. And I think this could be the way to do it, because you could get a Hulk who by the end of this has been so focused on this one goal to get back to the Illuminati and make them pay for what they did. And like his dying words could be sort of a redemption for the villain he's been the past movie. And just I could just see it all wrapping up the Hulk story. Because if we were to wrap up the Hulk story now, I wouldn't like it. It wouldn't feel complete. I think he's got a lot more to go.
I think so as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this episode of CBR Saga. Tell us in the comments if you think Hulk could go evil in the future, and if there was an Illuminati, which members do you think would be on it of the current MCU roster? So thank you all so much. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll be back next time with another episode. Thank you so much, Nick, and we'll see you all next time.